Matilde Serao was one of Italy's greatest novelists of the 19th century. In her lifetime, she was celebrated across Europe, a pioneering journalist, a fearless social observer, and the architect of some of Italian literature's most psychologically acute narratives. Yet today, even in Italy, her work has nearly vanished from English. This is Haberdash Books, where we find forgotten masterpieces and bring them back. Today, Piccolo Romanzo, a glittering, incisive novel about a woman caught between passion and security, between what society demands and what her soul craves. Subscribe and email hello@haberdashbooks.com with the subject Lost Library Pass to claim any full audiobook from our catalog free, MP3 yours to keep, EPUB included when available. Hit subscribe and YouTube will bring you a new forgotten classic every single day. Matilde Serao was born in Patrasso, Greece in 1856 and became one of Italy's most celebrated literary figures by the 1890s. She was the first woman to found and edit an Italian newspaper, Il Corriere di Roma, and was a prolific novelist whose works were read across Europe and translated into multiple languages during her lifetime. Her novel Il ventre di Napoli became a touchstone of Italian realism, and she received serious critical attention from major European writers. By 1900, she was considered among the most important Italian voices of her era. Yet Serao's disappearance from English-language literary consciousness was neither gradual nor accidental. After her death in 1927, her work was never substantially retranslated into English. Italian literature itself became marginalized in the Anglophone world, overshadowed by French and Russian masters. A combination of language barrier, the dominance of male modernists, and simple literary amnesia conspired to erase her. By the mid-20th century, readers seeking Italian naturalism turned to Verga or D'Annunzio, never to the woman who had arguably surpassed both. Piccolo romanzo represents everything we've lost, a novel of psychological precision about the interior lives of women, the violence of social expectation, and the architecture of desire. It speaks to timeless questions about autonomy and belonging. Rediscovering Serao is not nostalgia, it's correcting a genuine historical error in taste. If you've ever loved the psychological precision of Flaubert, the social critique of Tolstoy, or the unflinching gaze of 19th-century European realism, then Matilde Serao's Piccolo romanzo is exactly what you've been looking for. The complete audiobook is at haberdashbooks.com. Subscribe and email hello@haberdashbooks.com with the subject Lost Library Pass to claim any full audiobook from our catalog free, MP3 yours to keep, EPUB included when available. The link is in the description.
A note from the translator. My first encounter with Matilde Serao was appropriately enough on the sun-drenched streets of Naples. I was browsing a tiny, overflowing bookshop near the Spanish Quarters when a vibrant cover caught my eye, a reissue of her novel, Il ventre di Napoli ***. I was captivated by her vivid descriptions of the city and its people, and the sheer force of her storytelling. It was a revelation. Serao, a pioneering journalist and prolific novelist, stands as a titan of Italian literature from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. She wasn't just observing her world, she was dissecting it, particularly the lives of women and the bustling heart of her beloved Naples. Her work offers an unparalleled window into an era of profound social change, depicting with unflinching honesty the aspirations, limitations, and vibrant spirit of her contemporaries. She matters because she gave voice to experiences often overlooked and crafted narratives that still resonate with striking immediacy. For too long, much of Serao's genius has been inaccessible to English-speaking readers. Piccolo romanzo * is a perfect example of what we've been missing. It's a glittering, incisive gem of a story, a miniature masterpiece that perfectly showcases her wit, her keen psychological insight, and her dazzling prose. It's a delightful, sharp-edged conversation that, despite its brevity, unpacks volumes about societal expectations, individual desires, and the intricate dance between men and women in the high society of the time. My aim in translating Piccolo romanzo was to capture Serao's distinctive voice, her elegant, sometimes ironic, and always evocative Italian. I've striven to maintain the delicate balance of her dialogue, the subtle shifts in tone, and the underlying currents of emotion that make this story so compelling. There were moments when a direct rendering felt too stiff for the English ear. So I allowed myself to reshape phrases to convey the spirit and rhythm of her original expression, always with the intention of bringing the reader closer to Serao's own artistry. I invite you now to step into this elegant salon, to listen in on these captivating exchanges, and to discover the enduring charm and brilliance of Matilde Serao. I believe you'll find it as enchanting as I do. Samuel Chatwin, Haberdash Books, 2026. p. 9 Modifica, a short novel. She watched the fragile flower trembling in the handsome prince's hands, and a subtle shiver of terror slowly invaded her. Now the handsome prince, indifferent and cold, had fixed his gaze on the flower, as if he meant to count its white petals, where the word of destiny lies. Pulling a soft, rosy silk purse from his pocket, he shortened the flower's stem and enclosed it within its folds, as if in a sweet, sacred reliquary. Miss Daisy had followed all of this with her gaze, and when she saw the flower disappear and then its rosy case vanish into his breast pocket, she let out a faint sigh of relief. It will die, it has found its P. 10 Modifica tomb, the English girl repeated, almost mechanically. Does death frighten you so much? Don Francesco asked. No, not at all, she said profoundly. We were speaking of death, he added. And at the same time, as if instinctively, he turned toward Donna Clara, who was arriving, all rosy, all glorious, on Hayduck's arm. Of death! Donna Clara exclaimed, bursting into laughter. Yes, said the handsome prince, his gaze moving from Daisy to Donna Clara, from the fragile stalk of the blonde creature to the magnificent flower of dark beauty, looking at the two girls without a smile, coldly and serenely, of death. I propose to Miss Daisy here that we consider ourselves at the point of death and confess to one another, like the early Christians. And she refused, said Donna Clara, lightly furrowing her imperious eyebrows. It was not possible, the prince added. Miss Daisy has no sins to confess. And you, prince? Me, I have too many, and I could not have P. 11 Modifica horrified the confessor. Come away, Hayduck, let's leave these young ladies alone. They need to speak ill of us. And the handsome, indifferent prince made a grand bow, linked his arm with that of the brilliant Hungarian officer, and dragged him away. Now the two girls sat on the sofa, one beside the other, their arms unencumbered, their fingers softly clutching their fans. Both seemed very tired, as if exhausted, and the silence between them lengthened. It almost seemed as if each had forgotten the other's presence, both 1,000 miles away, lost, each in her own dream, where the distant music was like a lullaby. Miss Daisy had become so pale again that the faint rosy hue of her face was vanquished, and the triumphant dark-haired girl beside her bowed her head, as if overcome by the dream. Have you been to the Trinità dei Monti, a church in Rome? Donna Clara asked Miss Daisy, suddenly. Oh no, replied Miss Margarita, vehemently denying it, not today at least. And why not? P. 12 Modifica, because I never go to church when I'm going to a ball in the evening. You English girls are strange. What does a ball have to do with church? Precisely. One must follow a single path in life, Clara, and never waver. A ball is not impiety, Daisy, but it isn't a prayer either. One must be logical. Oh, what a peculiar people you are, Daisy. You do nothing but make axioms. Do you never do anything foolish? Always logically. We commit folly with all the necessary forms, and we go all the way. All the way? Donna Clara asked, vaguely concerned. That's right, Miss Daisy retorted. Donna Clara passed her gloved hand over her pure brow, as if to dispel a cloud from her spirit, and immediately she smiled. It is true, we mix cheerful things and serious things too much, she said, still smiling, but that is not unpleasant, certainly. You at least, Daisy, love Italy very much. Very, very much. Despite our inconsistencies, despite everything. p. 13 Modifica, and why don't you marry here, my little Margarita? Why, for this reason. You didn't want Guido Arezzo. It was he who didn't want me, said the Englishwoman, sketching a pale smile. What? No, he told Ferdinando, my brother. Why didn't you want Guido Arezzo? Because he didn't love me, Clara. He didn't love you, but how do you know he didn't love you? I know. Men tell so many lies. Not to me, I understand lies. Oh, poor thing, don't say you understand them. Men always deceive us, whether they love us or not. I understand lies, Miss Daisy retorted, insisting, shaking her head as if nothing could persuade her. And you say, my dear stubborn girl, that Guido Arezzo didn't love you. He didn't love me, but he didn't lie either. He said that passion isn't necessary in marriage. And you believe it is necessary, Daisy? p. 14 Modifica, I believe so. How romantic you are, Daisy. I am romantic, and that doesn't bother me. So, Daisy, you must make a romance when you marry? Indeed. And perhaps you will remain an old maid. I think so. Men nowadays are as dry as cork. They know nothing of passion and romance. You will remain an old maid. So much the better. And I will marry badly, Donna Clara murmured, opening and closing her feather fan. Why badly? Because I need so much money that nothing else matters, the good girl said again, ingenuously, vaguely, almost speaking in a dream. Money? Indeed, who knows whom they'll give me? Perhaps an old German count who has a castle down there and whose servants address him as Serene Highness. Perhaps some old Swedish prince, a Lombard industrialist who will become p. 15 Modifica, a baron when he marries me, or some Calabrian millionaire. Who knows? Don't you have any will of your own? Miss Daisy asked, looking her in the eyes. Wouldn't you want anyone, a person to your liking, with whom you were in love, or a person for whom you felt an irresistible sympathy? Me, said Donna Clara. We other girls have an ideal type, we have a figure in whom all our dreams live. You must have one too. Donna Clara had grown thoughtful, and a faint shadow of melancholy had spread across her face. Her beautiful mouth, red as a pomegranate, had a childish crease of sorrow. A dream. A dream, she murmured. Who speaks of their dreams? Dreams are life, Miss Daisy pronounced gravely and sweetly. I dream too, said the dark-haired girl, but I am afraid to put a name to my dreams. I fear that they are too beautiful and too unforgettable, and that they will make me profoundly unhappy. A great earthy pallor spread over her face, tears welled up in her eyes. She trembled, as if at that moment the most p. 16 Modifica, desperate sobs were about to shake her. She did not cry, however. She blushed again, composed herself, smiled. Tell me your dreams, Daisy, since you confess to being romantic. I am a dry and hard creature who needs money and who must not dream. Tell me the name of the person you want to marry, Margarita. He doesn't exist, said the pale, blonde creature. He doesn't exist. Naughty girl, that you won't tell me anything. He doesn't exist, if he did exist. What would you do? I would go to him frankly and tell him, I love you. And if he didn't love you, I would die. Don't speak of death, you frighten me. You English girls are capable of anything. Don't be scared, Miss Daisy said, smiling a little. The night of my heart has not yet arrived. And they looked at each other, affectionately, like two friends who have told each other everything, each keeping her secret to herself. People began to leave the ball and passed in front of them. Some acquaintance, some friend would stop for a moment, exchange a few words with the two p. 17 Modifica girls and go away. Suddenly in the ballroom, a lady appeared, Donna Maria di Lanciano, a tall and slender lady, with a long and delicate bust, magnificent arms, and a plump neck. Her fiery red hair was piled high on her head in a dense, shimmering mass, and a ducal, star-spangled diadem sparkled within it. She wore black, a strange choice for a ball. A long train of black moire silk undulated behind her, with deep waves. A diamond necklace sparkled on her chest, and her sleeves were merely two thick strips of diamonds, supporting the dress on her bare shoulders. Her large, expressive mouth revealed brilliant teeth, similar to those of Berenice in Edgar Poe's novella. Her green, very green eyes were deep with emerald light. She stood still under the arch of the doorway and did not speak, smiling at someone who was still in the ballroom. This someone reached her, offered her his arm, mute, looking into her eyes, looking at her smile. It was Don Francesco. Slowly, but without speaking to each other, Don Francesco, the handsome, indifferent, and cold prince, and Donna Maria di Lanciano, the beautiful lady dressed in black, passed before the two girls without greeting them, without seeing them. They pee. 18 Modifica went away mute, united by the slight chain of their arms, but so united that nothing seemed capable of ever dividing them. The two young women looked at each other and found themselves equally mortally pale. Aye. While Don Francesco, stretched out on a long, wide sofa in his dressing room, smoked a cigarette, the three letters lay beside him, on a small silver tray atop a small lacquered table. Two letters were thick, voluminous, sealed. The third was a very simple, very small visiting card, hastily enclosed in an envelope. Don Francesco looked at the three letters with an indolent and tired eye, then returned to his cigarette, shaking his head, as if he wished to detach himself from all human troubles. For a moment, he picked up the small visiting card, enclosed in its envelope, and looked at it, hesitating. He even tried to read it without opening it. But he could not, so he put the small letter down again and tried to fall back asleep, into that sweet torpor of the will which was his habitual state. Yet the three letters were there, motionless, but almost alive, p. 19 Modifica, almost personified by those who had written them. And he resaw a pale face with long hair, of a faded blonde. He resaw a vivid face with black eyes and lips like the pomegranate flower. He resaw those two eyes so full of disturbing emerald light. And to escape the nightmare of these three figures, which overlapped one another, he reached out and opened one of the letters. "Today I marry the Prince of Schillingfirst," wrote the young woman. "On the same day, all three marriages. I must marry this old prince before the civil registrar, and before both churches, the Roman Catholic and the Protestant. 3 times I will have to say yes. I will have to say that I am happy to marry this old German, that I am happy to follow him down there to his castle, where we will be, it is true, subjects and tributaries of Germany, but where the peasants and servants and visitors will address us as Her Serene Highness. Mother is happy because my marriage and my departure tranquilize her about my future and prepare for her a second youth, full of freedom and full of joy."
Chapter 1 of Matilde Serao's masterpiece has just ended, and Donna Clara's choice is about to transform everything. Subscribe, claim your free Lost Library audiobook, and the complete novel is waiting at haberdashbooks.com.